The late summer sun spilled golden light over the terracotta roof of Seacrest Haven, a serene wellness resort tucked along the coastline. A soft sea breeze drifted through the partially open window, stirring the thin white curtains like a sigh. In a second-floor room, Anna Whitlow lay curled slightly on a wide oak-framed bed, gently stroking the hair of the infant sleeping peacefully on her chest. Anna, 32, was a high school literature teacher. The kind of woman others described as quiet but steady, with listening eyes and a voice like a winter library, low, calm, and warm. She had given birth to her second daughter, little Ivy, just 3 days ago. The postpartum retreat had been her husband's idea, Mason Whitlow, a senior engineer at a technology firm. At first, Anna had been touched by his thoughtfulness, but gradually she began to sense the chill behind the comfort, the distance behind the gift. "Mom, I finished my drawing," came the voice of Eliza, their 8-year-old daughter, from the corner of the room. She walked over and placed a sketch of a ship floating in the ocean beside Anna's pillow. Anna gave a tired smile. "Let me see, sweetheart," she whispered. Eliza was her mirror in miniature, from the deep brown eyes to the small, quiet frame. But there was something about Eliza that often surprised Anna, a kind of sensitivity that far outpaced her years. She seemed to always know when her mother was sad and never asked, only sat close, silent, and present. Just like now. Anna slowly sat up, her back aching, memories rising like steam. She remembered the night before they came to Seacrest Haven. That night, Mason never came home. "Urgent meeting at the office. Don't wait up," a text had said, arriving at 11 p.m. But the signs were all there. His dress shirt was still hanging, ironed and untouched. The laptop remained on the desk. The new cologne he'd recently bought had vanished from the shelf. She hadn't asked, because she already knew, if she did, he'd only grow silent again, or blame her for being too sensitive. Things had started shifting during her second pregnancy. Not with a bang, but in quiet degrees, like frost settling on glass in summer. Mason had once been an attentive husband, thoughtful, witty, always willing to share the weight of things. But over the past 2 years, he had grown increasingly distant. Coming home late, flipping his phone face down, taking midnight calls under the pretext of international meetings. Anna wasn't the suspicious type, but she was observant. She noticed the look in Mason's eyes when Eliza proudly showed him her perfect test scores, a flicker of detachment. The way his kisses in the morning grew shorter, cooler, the lingering scent of unfamiliar perfume when he left the house in a freshly ironed shirt. She had thought about confronting him, but every time the thought of divorce came near, Anna would falter, pulled back by the stability they'd built together. The lakefront house, their shared investments, the legacy tied to her family's name. Mason had always been clear. If they divorced, he would lose everything. She hadn't yet realized how deep the fractures went. It was Eliza, not Anna, who first stumbled upon the cracks. One night, not long before the trip, she had quietly padded past Mason's half-closed office door and heard something she couldn't forget. "I can't divorce her yet. You know how much her family's worth. I just need more time. Don't mess this up." The words, though whispered and vague, wrapped around Eliza like threads of quiet dread. She didn't fully understand, but something about the way her father's voice had sounded, careful, calculating, planted a seed of fear she couldn't name. Anna, meanwhile, remained lost in a fog of routine, memory, and quiet ache. The late nights Mason spent on the couch, claiming exhaustion. The quiet when she spoke about names for the new baby. The way he turned his head slightly away when she touched his arm. She chalked it up to hormones, to the strange haze of pregnancy. But deep down, she knew better. His silence wasn't gentle. It was surgical. It carved her out slowly and left the shell. When they arrived at Seacrest Haven, Mason seemed happier, at least on the surface. He buried himself in work calls, claimed poor signal as an excuse to disappear for hours, but always managed to show up at bedtime. Anna wanted to believe he was trying. On the second day, a young woman knocked on their door. She introduced herself as a postpartum care specialist. Her name was Rina Kerrigan, about 27, blonde hair tied neatly back, uniform crisp and clean. "Good morning, Miss Whitlow. I'll be taking care of you this week," she said with a smile. Her sea-blue eyes scanned Anna, not in a medical way, but as if seeing through her. "I'll be checking your blood pressure, managing your pain medication, and assisting with anything you need." Anna nodded politely, but something about Rina's gaze made her skin tighten. Not because it was cold, because it felt familiar. Eliza, coloring quietly by the window, looked up. Her small eyes narrowed just a little. When Rina finally left the room, Eliza leaned close to Anna and whispered, "Mom, I saw her, with Dad, in the parking lot yesterday." Anna turned, her breath catching. She looked into her daughter's eyes, steady, clear, certain. Her hand gripped the edge of the bed. Outside, the sea shimmered under late summer light. But inside her, a storm had begun to gather. The next morning began with the faint scent of lavender drifting through the room. A sea breeze slipped in through the window's small opening, brushing a loose strand of hair along Anna's neck. Her body still ached from labor, but her mind felt clearer. Ivy slept soundly in the white bassinet beside the bed. Eliza was arranging dried wild daisies into a ceramic vase near the window, a small bouquet she had gathered from the garden behind the retreat. Mason wasn't in the room. "Where did Daddy go?" Anna asked, her voice rough with sleep. Eliza shrugged. "He left early, said he had some calls to make." Anna nodded. Lately, Mason was always on calls, but rarely in front of her. A gentle knock came at the door. "Good morning, Miss Whitlow." Rina entered, carrying a tray of medication. Today she wore a crisp white lab coat, her hair neatly pinned up, lips painted a muted coral. Her sea-blue eyes glimmered with something Anna couldn't quite name. "We'll check your blood pressure and uterine contractions, then you should take this painkiller to help with recovery." Rina placed a pale pink pill into a small ceramic cup. Anna picked it up, turning it slowly between her fingers. "This one's new?" she asked softly. "No, just a slightly stronger dose than yesterday." Rina smiled, not blinking. "You slept really well last night, didn't you?" Anna nodded faintly, but inside, a doubt pressed against her ribs. The day before, she had slept through nearly the entire afternoon into evening. Just one pill, but it had felt like sinking through fog. Her limbs had gone heavy. Her head ached when she woke. She didn't swallow the pill. Instead, she placed it down gently. "I'll take it after breakfast," she said. Rina's lips tightened for the briefest second, then curved back into a smile. "I'll come check on you later." Around noon, Mason returned to the room carrying a box of pasta and an iced coffee. "Here, the cafe here's not bad," he said, setting the food down. No kiss hello, no glance toward the baby still sleeping in the bassinet. Just presence, not affection. Anna ate in silence. Mason sat by the window, opening his laptop. "You seem busy," she murmured. "Yeah, still clearing some things from the old project. Where'd you go this morning?" Mason didn't look up. "Tried to zoom into a meeting, but the Wi-Fi sucked, so I had to step out." Anna didn't respond. Her eyes lingered on his face, the same face that once made her believe in stability and safety. Now it looked like a well-made mask, polished, familiar, and completely foreign. Later that afternoon, while Eliza was outside playing in the garden with a retreat staff member, Anna quietly opened the bedside drawer, where Rina usually kept the medication. Inside was a strip of unfamiliar pills. The foil packaging bore no brand name, only a handwritten label in red marker, RX-72. Below it in small slanted script, "Do not leave more than 4 tablets day with patient." A cold wave rolled down her spine. She placed everything back exactly as it was, closed the drawer, and stood still for a moment in front of the mirror. The breeze still came through the open window, but the room no longer smelled like lavender. That night, Anna stirred from sleep. Through the white curtain separating the bed from the door, she saw a shadow pass. There was no sound of the door opening, only the faintest footstep, quiet even, like someone who belonged there. She held her breath. In the bassinet, Ivy slept soundly. Eliza was curled up on the daybed nearby. Anna didn't move. Her hand reached toward the bassinet, fingers curling tight around the edge of the wooden frame. The next morning, as Anna changed Ivy's diaper, Eliza whispered, "Mom, last night I saw Miss Raina standing by the door. She stared at you for a long time, then she left, but she didn't knock." Anna froze, her hands paused mid-motion. "Are you sure?" she asked. Eliza nodded. She smelled like cleaning spray, like the day she wiped the tables. That afternoon, Raina returned, carrying the usual tray. "Time for your meds," she said cheerfully. Anna picked up the pill but didn't bring it to her lips. "I'll save it for later," she said, her voice light, but her eyes never leaving Raina's. "You should take it on time," Raina replied, smiling, a smile that never quite touched her eyes. "I will," Anna said, slipping the pill into the bedside drawer. "I'll remember." She didn't see Raina leave, but she felt the room grow colder. She turned toward Ivy's bassinet. Something unspoken had begun to form inside her, no longer a vague intuition, but the early shape of a clear and paralyzing fear. And for the first time, Anna whispered silently to herself, "I'm being watched." The morning at Seacrest Haven drifted by with an air of false peace. Anna sat on the balcony, pale sunlight warming her cheek. In her hand was a cup of chamomile tea, long gone cold. Ivy slept beside her in the bassinet, while Eliza sat quietly nearby, coloring in silence. Anna didn't ask anything, but her eyes flicked now and then toward the door. The same door where, just last night, Eliza had seen Raina standing, watching. No knock, no voice, just a still figure, like a shadow without emotion. "Have you seen her before?" Anna asked softly. Eliza paused, lifted her head. Her voice was barely more than a breeze. "Before you had Ivy. One day, I came home early from school. Dad picked me up. We stopped for ice cream on Seaside Road." Anna said nothing. Her fingers tightened around the teacup. "While I was eating, I saw Dad talking to her, Miss Raina. She wasn't wearing the nurse uniform. She had on a black dress. They were sitting outside. She was holding his hand, and he kept looking around, like he didn't want anyone to see them." Anna couldn't breathe for a moment. She stared at her daughter, who was speaking clearly, without confusion or doubt. "I didn't tell you before because I wasn't sure. But now I remember her face." That afternoon, Anna pretended to nap when Raina entered the room. She heard the soft footsteps, the light clink of metal, maybe a tray, then the faintest click from the bedside drawer, where Anna had placed the pill the day before. No questions, no knock. Raina stood there for a long moment. Anna could feel her breath nearby, hovering. She kept her breathing steady, one hand curled protectively around Ivy. A faint antiseptic scent lingered in the air, sharp, familiar. Finally, Raina walked out. The door clicked shut softly, as if no one had ever been there. As soon as the hallway fell silent, Anna sat up. She opened the drawer. The pill was gone. Later that day, while Mason was still in meetings over in the West Lounge, Anna called for a different nurse, Laura, the head nurse on duty, to check her postpartum condition. "Is something wrong?" Laura asked as she entered. "You look a little pale." Anna didn't answer right away. She looked directly into Laura's eyes and asked, "What painkillers are supposed to be prescribed for me?" Laura blinked. "You should be on Tyrosine 5 milligrams. No more than 2 pills a day." "Why?" Anna's voice was low. "What's RX-72? Laura frowned deeply. "That's not one of ours. That's not in our system. Who gave that to you?" Anna was quiet for a moment, then said softly, "I'm not sure, but she introduced herself as part of the postpartum care team." Laura immediately pulled out her phone. "I'll have to verify that. Can you describe her for me?" That night, Anna woke to the low rumble of distant thunder over the sea. Ivy was still asleep. Eliza curled under her blanket, unmoving. Then a rustle, like someone standing just beyond the curtain. Anna froze. On her wrist was the emergency watch. Its panic button could silently alert the front desk if held for 3 seconds. She didn't move, not even to breathe deeply. This time, the silhouette behind the curtain was unmistakable. A tall, slender woman, long hair, standing still. Anna kept one hand on the bassinet, and then, just like that, the figure disappeared. A few minutes later, Eliza stirred. She sat up, crawled quietly to her mother's side, and whispered, "Mom, I heard her. She was talking to someone. In the hallway," she said. Anna turned her head. Eliza leaned in closer. She said, "It has to be soon, while she's still weak, or you'll lose me forever." A chill slid down Anna's spine like cold water. She couldn't stay silent anymore. The next morning, Anna made up her mind. She would leave the retreat. But when she went to the front desk, a staff member gently informed her that Mason had already given instructions. Anna was not to leave the facility for 72 hours, as part of a specialized recovery protocol. Anna stood frozen, her hand clenched tightly around the strap of her bag. When she returned to her room, she saw Raina standing at the end of the hallway, watching. Raina smiled faintly, as if nothing had happened. Anna nodded and walked past her the way a tired wife might. But inside her, a plan was forming. She would not run in fear. She would not let her daughter or her newborn fall into anyone's hands but her own. That evening, the air in the room thickened, as if tinged with metal. Anna locked the door after Mason left. He said he had an urgent meeting in the East Wing, but something in his eyes had dropped. More than that, it was the way he avoided hers. Ivy slept soundly in the bassinet. Eliza lay curled on the daybed, eyes still wide open in the dark. "Mom," she whispered, "I don't want to sleep. I'm scared she'll come back." Anna sat beside her daughter, stroking her soft hair. "I'm here. No one can hurt you." Eliza hesitated, then said, "Mom, if something happens, you have to hide. I'll find someone to help. Me and Ivy, we will." It wasn't the voice of a child. It was something older, ancient almost. As if Eliza had seen too much for her age and knew what was coming. Sometime after midnight, Anna stirred from a shallow sleep. A soft click. Someone was unlocking the door. She sat up immediately, signaling Eliza to stay quiet. There was no time to think. Anna scooped up Ivy, pulled the IV lying gently from her arm, and whispered, "Under the bed. Now." Eliza nodded without a sound, not crying, not questioning. She followed her mother without hesitation, as if she'd rehearsed this moment. They slid under the large bed, dust clinging to the corners. The smell of damp wood, milk from Anna's shirt, and Ivy's soft breaths filled the air. From the room they heard the door open, then close. Heels clicked slowly across the tile. Anna pressed Ivy to her chest. Eliza clutched her hand, eyes wide in the dark. A woman's voice spoke, low, intimate, like she was addressing someone who wasn't there. "She should be here. She doesn't get to leave." There was movement, pillows shifted. A drawer opened, the same voice again, colder this time. "There's no other way, Mason. You promised you'd leave her. You promised you'd choose me. I've planned everything." Each word stabbed into Anna's spine like ice. She recognized the voice, Raina. She was talking to herself, or maybe to someone she believed was listening. Then, another set of footsteps. Quieter, urgent. Mason, Anna thought. And yes, his voice followed, angry and shaking. "Raina, what the hell are you doing? You can't be in here." Raina's voice quickened, panicked. "You're scared now? You're the one who wanted this. I'm just helping you finish it. I did everything. The pills, the schedule changes, the records, one injection, and we're free." A loud crash. Someone struggling. "I never told you to kill her," Mason shouted. I just said I wanted out." "But you're too much of a coward," Raina screamed. "Afraid of losing her money. Afraid of being kicked out of her perfect little house. You're pathetic." Eliza shifted, whispering into Anna's ear. "Mom, the button." Anna glanced at her wrist, the emergency smartwatch. She pressed the red button, held it for 3 seconds. A soft vibration. The signal had gone through. Above them, the fight escalated. Voices rising, items crashing. "Raina, stop! You're insane!" No, I'm saving us both. Then, a heavy thud. Something metallic hit the floor. Raina gasped, short and sharp. The door burst open. Footsteps stormed in. Head nurse, what the hell is going on? She's got a syringe, Mason shouted. Security. Call security. Anna pulled Eliza close, trembling arms wrapped tight around Ivy. We're gonna be okay, she whispered. Miss Whitlow. A female voice called. Laura. Anna nudged Eliza out first, then followed, cradling Ivy in one arm and pulling her IV stand with the other. The sudden light made her eyes blur. And there, on the floor, Raina was being pinned down by two security guards. A syringe lay inches from her outstretched hand. Mason slumped against the wall, shirt wrinkled, face pale, lip bleeding. She was going to kill you, he stammered. Anna said nothing. She stood, silent and still, holding her baby and gripping her daughter's hand. Her face was eerily calm. That night the truth rose fully into the light, and there was nothing left to hide. 3 days after the incident, Anna was transferred to a private recovery suite reserved for high-risk patients. The new room was quieter, no round-the-clock monitoring, no footsteps pacing behind curtains, and most of all, no Raina. Raina Kerrigan had been arrested that same night. Initial tests confirmed that the syringe she carried contained a high dose of morphine, enough to stop the heart of someone as weakened as Anna. Her credentials were fake. The name, the license, the employment history. All fabricated. Worse, this wasn't the first time she had used a healthcare setting to get close to a victim. Police labeled the case a premeditated, attempted homicide, but Anna knew there was something even more disturbing beneath the surface. A warped emotion masked as love, shaped by lies and desperation. Mason had been taken to the hospital too, dislocated shoulder, a few scratches. But after that, he never returned to Anna's room. No apology. No visit to hold his newborn daughter. Just a single text message. 2 days later, I don't deserve to stand in front of you. But if you'll let me, I'd like to say one last thing. Anna never replied. Eliza recovered faster than Anna expected. After the night under the bed, she became quieter, more watchful. She would often gaze at Anna for a long time before sleeping. But there was no panic in her eyes, only the raw attentiveness of someone learning to survive. Anna brought her to the first therapy session on a Tuesday afternoon. The psychologist was an older woman with silver hair and a voice as soft as silk. After the session, Eliza hugged Anna tightly and whispered, "Mom, I think I was really brave." Anna's eyes welled up. "You're the bravest person I know." The next morning, Anna asked to meet with the family lawyer. She wasn't backing down anymore. Within 2 weeks, she filed for a unilateral divorce. The lawyer filed for full custody of both children, requesting that Mason's contact be restricted to supervised video calls for Eliza's emotional safety. Mason didn't contest. He showed up once, standing in the parking lot of the recovery center while Anna was out walking Ivy in the stroller and holding Eliza's hand. He stood a few meters away, their eyes meeting, tired, remorseful, powerless, like a man who had drifted out of a world he once believed belonged to him. Anna didn't stop walking. Eliza didn't look back. 3 months later, they moved to a smaller town called Marrow Creek. The rental house had a peach tree in the backyard, not large, but bright with sunlight, and far from everything they used to know. Anna returned to work part-time at the local library, helping with the children's story hour every Wednesday afternoon. Ivy would sleep quietly in the stroller next to her, while Eliza sat front row, always clapping the loudest when her mother closed the last page. "That's my mom," Eliza once told a little boy beside her. "She can turn anything terrible into a really good story." One fall afternoon, Anna's best friend Carol came to visit. They sat on the porch, sipping tea, watching Ivy toddle beneath the grapevine trellis. "I still don't know how you made it through all that without falling apart," Carol said. Anna gave a faint smile. "I did fall apart. But Eliza, she never let me stay broken for long. She glanced over at Eliza, now tying a blue ribbon in her sister's hair. The sunlight slid gently down their shoulders. At the end of the day, just before the sun dipped below the hills, Anna opened a new notebook and wrote her first words. People think betrayal is what breaks a family. Sometimes it's what opens a door out of a velvet prison, so soft, so sweet, you forget you've been locked inside. I used to think forgiveness was the highest virtue. Now I believe it takes more courage to walk away. Draw a line and fiercely protect what still matters. She set the pen down and turned toward the garden. Eliza was laughing. Ivy ran, wobbly and wild in the golden light, her hair glowing like a scatter of seeds in the sun. Anna knew there was a long road ahead, but for now, they had survived, and from here on the story would be written in her own hand, not by anyone else's.